Mic check 1 2 3. 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 Well, let's get started, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into late night edition of the recap show. Week 3 has come and gone. Boy, you have some big thrills around the state of Louisiana. There's a lot of teams celebrating a 3-0 start. There's some thrillers that we're going to talk about. 1-point victories across the state. How did those games turn out? Thursday night was crazy. You had some big-time marquee matchups across the state of Louisiana. You had some real headlines around the state here on Friday night. Weather played its role a little bit here tonight, but not too bad across the state of Louisiana. We got a lot of games in. Some games were pushed back a little later than expected, but we got all of them in, and I'm proud to say that Week 3 has come and gone, and we shift gears to Week 4, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, my name is Jordan Taylor. This is Under the Lights Late Night Recap Show. Gary and Holden and the rest of the gang could not join me tonight. I mean, it is 2:20 in the morning, but when you love this sport, when you're passionate about covering it, when you just want to make sure the fans know that you care about them and you want to bring a recap show week in and week out, you come and do a show when you get home late at night, 2:20 in the morning. Thanks for everyone that will tune in tonight and watch this. And maybe if you watch this at a later date, hello, and appreciate you for sure. Hey, we got games of the night to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. Some upsets of the night. UTL statement win of the night. I got 5 teams to put their stamp on Week 3, and they definitely deserve a statement win of the night. Also, helmet stickers to give out, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, it's 2:20 in the morning. You're watching Under the Lights. Hey, you're crazy just like I am, but thank you for laying in bed or still sitting at the locker room watching some high school football here tonight. Corey Brody checking into the chat. Them Pirates, ladies and gentlemen, they're 3-0. Oh, baby, they got a big one next week over there in Pirate Country. I'm ready for that one showdown next week with rain. Oh, what a game. Braden checking into the chat. Late night football talk. Gotta love it. Hey, it's high school football season. You do not get these days back. Enjoy every moment of it. Cherish every memory. And 9 people still up at 2:20 in the morning. Well, y'all gonna get divorced if y'all don't go to bed and meet your wife. But let's go enjoy the rest of the show, ladies and gentlemen. I'm by myself tonight. I'm going to wing it as best I can. Leave comments in the chat if you would like. If you would like to ask some questions, go ahead. I mean, if you want to call in, talk about your big-time win tonight. You want to talk about your team. You want to talk about the next week's matchup. Hey, I got phone lines open right now, 337-290-5587. I'd love to chat with you tonight because it's a late one. LSU plays at 11 a.m. tomorrow, so I ain't got nothing to do until 11 tomorrow. But like I said, let's get going with this Week 3 coverage. I'll leave the phone line in the chat for you. 337-290-5587. Call in number. Hey, we'll talk some football tonight. It's late night football here on Under the Lights. JB in the I'm not sure if he's calling in tonight. Might have went to bed, but he's our New Orleans guy. And then Mr. Ray is our North Louisiana guy, so we'll get back with those guys next week. Mr. Terrell says, John Curtis with a huge blowout win over a tough team from Florida. He loves them Patriots, and hey, anytime you can go out of state and get a big-time win, it speaks volumes about your program. Corey Brody, staying up late with the boys. Best coverage in the state. I wouldn't say the best, but we try our hardest, my brother. Thank you so much. Hey, Thursday Night Football, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get right into it. We covered Kinder and Rose Pine Thursday night, and I would say that last year's game was a lot more exciting. It was a 14-7 defensive slugfest. Last night, we could say 2 nights ago, now that we're into the wee hours of the morning, but when we covered this game Thursday night, it was a much improved Kinder football team led by Justin Reed. He had his staff motivated, ready to go. He had his football players ready to run through a brick wall for him. I've seen a very good Kinder football team that teams have to take notice on moving forward. Yellow Jackets, 34-0 on the road, knock off Rose Pine in their home opener. I'm very impressed. That up-tempo offense from the pistol, holy cow. This team here, keep a close eye on it moving forward. They're 3-0. Yellow Jackets, 3-0. You love to hear it. Pickering and Grand Lake, ladies and gentlemen. Grand Lake trying to come off of a big loss a week ago. Could they bounce back at home against Pickering? Yes, no problem. And Pickering's losing streak goes on another day, another game. I think it sits at 24 in a row now, trying to break the streak. I think they can get it done this season, but that night, it was all Grand Lake. Grand Lake gets their second win of the season, 47-0. Hey, how about Welsh and Hamilton Christian? Hamilton Christian came off a big win in week 2. Welsh, an 0-2 start. Not like them guys over there in Greyhound Country, but, like I said, you can turn things around at a snap of a finger, and they're headed back in the right direction after a big-time road win. Hey, new head football coach over there gets his first career win. I want to say congratulations. 50-6 on the road. Welsh Greyhounds get in the win column. Expect this team moving forward, get a couple more dubs, and watch out when the playoffs get here. Calvary Baptist and Bird met on Thursday night also. How about Calvary Baptist just putting their stamp on the state of Louisiana and said, Bird, you're 0-3. We're 3-0. We're the 1A school. You're the 5A. My guys are better than yours. We coached our tails off. Calvary Baptist 42-21 on the road. Get ready, ladies and gentlemen. Calvary Baptist is ready to roll once again. That's a scary, 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 scary team. And then your big one. Your God blessed big one on Thursday night. I'm upset I missed it. Carencro Southside, for the right to be 3-0, for the right to be 1-0 or 2-0 in the district standings. I forget they have like 8 or 9 teams, but Southside's the defending district champs from a year ago. If you want to beat the champ, you got to beat the champ. Well, let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Carencro on the road Thursday night, under 30 seconds remaining in the game. I think it was around 13 seconds to be exact. Carencro on the road, thriller, and an exhilarating win. That's what I can describe it. They get the go-ahead touchdown there at the end on the road. It's just something about going have a game like that. Those kids will remember that for the rest of their lives, I guarantee it. And then the game-winning interception, Southside last second heave towards the end zone, picked off. This Carencro football team, they're dangerous. Those guys, the Golden Bears, watch out. They're a heavy favorite in that district, and they're setting up a huge matchup down the road with Acadiana. I like this Carencro football team. don't forget the name of the Golden Bears moving forward. 19-14, that's a final. Karen Crow, Thursday Night Football. What a win at Southside. Hey, tonight we covered Beauchesne and Northwest, two St. Landry Parish teams meeting up on the gridiron. Told you during the week I got much respect for both sides. Both coaches have been nice to the platform. We've built relationships, so thank you to those guys over the last few years that have been true friends to the platform. But these guys will meet on Friday night. And I want to thank Coach Lewis for having us. I want to thank the lady in the press box for feeding us. Beauchesne would get out ahead with a great kick return followed by a field goal, go up 3-0. But it wouldn't take long. Northwest would strike right back. The kickoff right after the field goal. They took it to the house. Or eventual player of the game, Mr. Day, number 5. So Northwest rolled after that point. Could not be slowed down much. I mean, I talked to Coach Edwards after the game. He said we did not play our best tonight, but a 29-3, I'm sure he's happy in some aspects. Hey, his team's 2-1. His team got a big matchup next week with Eunice. I know those guys in Raiderland are excited. I know those guys in Bobcat Land are excited for the matchup. It should be a good one. Raiders, Northwest, Eunice next week. Go get your ticket. Go watch that one in person. Port Barre OC meeting tonight. I told you on Wednesday night the rivalry was dead, and I truly believe it. 46-0 home win for OC. They get that first win of the season. It was their senior night, and the Vikings, looks like their offense could not be stopped. It looked like the defense is pitching a shutout here. Yes, 46-0. So Vikings first win of the season comes against Port Barre. 46-0. Hey, hats off to Coach at Centerville and all the coaches at Centerville doing a tremendous job here early in this season. Starting out this season 3-0. I know those guys in the offseason had big expectations for this season, and they are delivering week in and week out and just putting up big time numbers. Defense putting up big time stops of not letting these teams score many points. So Centerville, you got the state's attention, you got my attention. I wish you nothing but luck the rest of the way, because I got my eye on this program and I can't wait to see what they do once district play gets back around. You want a big time matchup next week, folks? Centerville, Jeanerette, 3-0 versus 3-0. Oh my goodness. That's a game after what Jeanerette did tonight. Centerville, Jeanerette, you better be there. You better go watch that one. Those kids deserve to see you there, and you can't get better 3-0 games here in your smaller classifications. I guarantee it's going to be a dandy. Corey Brody says Centerville and Jeanerette are doing incredible jobs. Yeah. Hey, they get to meet up next week. I can't wait. East Beauregard, Mamu. I thought Mamu would keep this one closer. I thought they had the athletes to run with East Beauregard tonight. But East Beau, they run that offense to a T, and they were clicking on all cylinders tonight at home. It's a scary team, it looks like. I mean, besides the 4-point loss to Rose Pine here in week 1, that's back-to-back weeks this East Beau team has rolled. And we'll see what happens once district play comes around. It looks like maybe East Beau, Basile, meeting on later on down the line for a district title. We'll have to keep a close eye on this East Beau team. But a 40-12 final score over Mamu tonight. South Beauregard, back-to-back weeks, impressive wins. Offense, 20-plus points back-to-back weeks. Defense, getting the job done. A goose egg a week ago, giving up 6 this week. South Beauregard, they were the team that was lone left in that competitive district, but they're trying to make things happen here in non-district play. They're trying to build momentum and say, don't leave us out. We can contend in this district also, because you know this district is loaded. You got the Iowas, you got the Jennings, you got the Lake Charles College Preps, you got the Kinders, you got the St. Louis's, and so on. South Borgore says, hey, we got a football team this year. We got a good coaching staff. We're going to go compete for this district title too. So hats off to you. Back-to-back wins the last 2 weeks. The fun begins now. Hello, district play. That was a final 27-6. Ladies and gentlemen, it's sad to say tonight I had to break the news to Holly. Holly was 2-0 coming into the week on locks of the week. And tonight, her lock of the week let her down. Shame on you, Elton. Holly's lock of the week now 2-1 on the season. She locked in Elton this week. She had a lot of confidence in him. And Montgomery, big time upset, knocks off Elton on the road 26-12. Who saw that one coming? It ain't a lock no more, folks. You should have took the over. You should have took the upset of the night. Good job, Montgomery. Great win. Oakdale-Ville Platte got kicked off a little bit earlier, 6 o'clock. So we were around the third quarter in our game tonight when that one went final. Oakdale, good road win here. Ville Platte been putting up some great games these last 2 weeks. Could they steal a win tonight against a game Oakdale football team at home? You see, they played better these last 2 weeks. You see, they was building a little confidence. Could they get over the curve and get a win? But tonight, a 15-point win for Oakdale, and the Warriors moved to 3-0 in the year. I know they feeling good over there at Oakdale. And they got some big matchups coming, especially in Week 5. Don't miss that one whenever they head down to Week 5. Whew, what a game that will be. But that was a final of, 35-20 road win for the Warriors. Congratulations. Hey, call line still available, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here half the night. 337-290-5587. Want to be on the show. Talk a little football. Talk about your matchup tonight. Don't hesitate to call, because I got 5 of you with me at 2:30 in the morning. Let's ride. LaGrange and Kaplan. Kaplan down a talented back, but they have a 2, 3, 4 of them that can go at any moment. And when you got an offensive line that likes to get after it and get how you say that, play a little smash mouth football, and you got a quarterback that can lead this offense, and you've seen it week 1, week 2, week 3. They're putting up points. They're putting up big-time rushing yards. What you got to pass for when you got talented tailbacks in the backfield and a heck of an offensive line that's putting up numbers as they've done these last few weeks. Big-time win at home tonight. The Pirates of Kaplan are 3-0. LaGrange could not match up tonight. It was a roll for the Pirates, 48-12. 3-0. Kaplan. Guess who's coming into town next week, folks? Rain, Kaplan, book it. You ain't going to want to miss that one, because you got some talented offensive lines. You got some talented tailbacks. They're going to battle it out next week. That scoreboard might break next week at Pirate Stadium. You're going to have to get there early. Go do a little tailgating if you want. But when 7 o'clock comes, sit tight. Enjoy the show. Eunice and Avoyelles. I did not see this score being this close. I thought Eunice was the better team. I thought they can go in and they can play disciplined football and wrap up. And I thought they can get a convincing win here tonight. But this Eunice team starting to worry me a little bit these last 2 weeks. Jennings handled them pretty well last week. And then tonight they barely scraped by against Avoyelles, but Avoyelles win at that field, not an easy thing to accomplish. Eunice somehow, some way, steals a win on the road. I'm not sure if it was ugly. I'm not sure if they played their best, but 21-20. Looks like special teams came into play tonight, and all you need, that little extra point, 1-point win. Congratulations, Bobcats. You got a big one next week with Northwest. I can't wait to see what happens in that one because both sides are really going to want that game. Notre Dame and Como, no problems for the Pios. 41-12 over Como tonight. Did I mention the Pios got a big game next week also? Man, week 4 shaping up to be a big one. Pios, Turlings, you know that's a huge rivalry. You know those two teams are going to get after it next week. But congratulations to Notre Dame tonight, getting their second win of the season. And looks like Como will fall to 0-3. Franklin and Berwick. Berwick welcome them in Franklin tonight, looking for their first win of the season. 0-2 on the year. Franklin 1-1. It could have went either way here. Franklin, talented team. Berwick at home, too much and too strong. Hey, they believed. They came in with a chip on their shoulder. They said this is not the standard at Berwick. Let's go get a home win and turn this season around. Well, yes, they did. 21-14 home winner. That's a thing to celebrate there. I know those guys are excited. Can't wait to see what Berwick does next week. Big time game for them also next week. Acadiana, back-to-back weeks putting up big numbers. It seems like they found that click on that offensive side of the ball. Tailbacks must be running for days. Offensive line must be gelling. And this quarterback play must be on the same gear as what we've seen in recent years. You look at this Acadiana team, still trying to dissect them after week 1. But you go week 2, week 3, big-time wins, and you're putting up numbers like that, and the defense is holding. Fear to Veer is in full force. And in this terrible Turks, if I'm not mistaken, on defense, get ready. I'm ready for that Karen Curl Acadiana matchup, ladies and gentlemen. Unless Southside goes beat Acadiana before we even get there, that could set up some drama. Oof. ERAF Catholic New Iberia. This was a back and forth contest. Left and right they went. This score was ugly at first. It was like a 6-11 type of game or a 12-11 type of game at one point. And then offense, we got some offense later on in this one. And this one ended a 2-point win for Catholic New Iberia, 25-23. I bet this one was a fun one to watch in person. And somebody has to lose. Somebody has to win. Hearts out to that ERAF team. 3 straight weeks of tough losses for this program. And you know it's starting to weigh a little bit on their shoulders. But what can you speak about the job that Coach DeZormo has done at Catholic New Iberia in year 1? They're 2-1 on the year. That Catholic New Iberia team could go shock some teams and win that district title this year. We have to keep an eye out on the Panthers moving forward. Like we spoke on Rain a little while ago, Rain, their talented tailback, their talented O-line, and their big-time defense would be at home this week against a Church Point team itching to turn this thing around. When you think Church Point, you don't think 0-3. You know this team is 10-0 material. You know this team is a semifinal, quarterfinal team year in and year out. And you come into this matchup tonight. This was a shootout a year ago, and then they met in the playoffs again. So these two teams are all too familiar with each other. And then you get into tonight's contest. Hey, your Church Point, you scored 36. You're feeling pretty good about yourself. But if you're a defensive coordinator, it's hard to sleep tonight knowing my offense put up 36, but man, this Rain offense was hard to stop tonight. They must have had everything working in their favor. 57-36 Rain at home tonight. That's a big time win for the Wolves. I know the Wolves are going to come in with confidence next week to Pirate Stadium. It's going to be one of the best matchups through the first 4 weeks that I can recall. So we'll see what happens after that 4-quarter war next week. St. Martinville, Breaux Bridge meeting tonight. St. Martinville trying to turn the season around. We said it on Wednesday night, on our Wednesday night show. If there's teams out there that we want to say don't hit the panic button, it would be St. Martinville, because they played some tough teams these first 2 weeks. They had another tough team tonight, but they're the type of team that can go into the playoffs 7-3. They can go in 5-5, and they're the type of team that can make a run for a state title or make a run for a semifinal, quarterfinal push, because they're so talented across the board. Tonight, an 0-2 St. Martinville welcome them in a quarterfinal a year ago Breaux Bridge team. They would roll 40-19. I know they're ecstatic over there in St. Martinville to get that loss column out the way and just get on the win column and just turn this season around a little bit, is what I'm trying to say about, okay, we got the first win. Now let's go relax and play St. Martinville football moving forward. So, big time win for St. Martinville tonight, 40-19. Port Allen and Livonia. This has become some type of a rivalry these last few years. They seem to play year in and year out. They're always on the schedule. But tonight it will be Port Allen that rolled on the road at Livonia, 37-6. Livonia falls to 1-2. Port Allen moves to 2-0-1. The one was a no contest. Westlake, no problems tonight with Vinton, 40-6. This Westlake team is 3-0. This Westlake team is really good, folks. They can score. They are fast. This offense is really, really good. And once they get into district play, watch out for Westlake. Westminster, coming off of a big-time win a week ago, had a matchup tonight with Hanson Memorial. Hanson Memorial 2-0 in the year. So, good start for them. Could they stay perfect and move to 3-0 with a road game tonight? They could. They went into Crusader Stadium and took care of business tonight. How about a 46-20 victory for Hanson Memorial? They moved to 3-0. Westminster drops to 1-2. And that big emotional win a week ago, they could not go another week with it. It would be all Hanson tonight. St. Ed's and Westminster of Lafayette, two great offenses meeting on the gridiron tonight. But it would be the defense that would stand tall for St. Ed's tonight. They held in check the Westminster Lafayette football team to only 6 points. So you know that secondary and that defensive front must have been playing with their hair on fire tonight. St. Ed's, they put up 46 big ones. But the big one for me is 6 points only given up against an offense that could score at will. And that's a big-time impressive Blue Jay win tonight. I know those guys sitting 2-1 on the year. They have a shot to be 3-1 next week, and then you already know what's week 5. I ain't got to tell no one at home. You look it up if you have to. That's going to be a blockbuster matchup for sure. Central Episcopal tonight at Patterson. The Blue Gators, I'm very impressed in these last 3 weeks with this Blue Gator football team. They got a week 1 win against a really good Plaquemine team. They come into week 2 and they lose a heartbreaker. And then you come and look at week 3 and they hit the road, take on a Patterson team. How would they match up? Did they have enough athletes in the secondary to slow down this pass and attack? Well, ladies and gentlemen, the answer would be answered quickly. From the first quarter on, it would be Blue Gator, and the Blue Gators would not turn around. They would roll tonight 40-6. Central Episcopal, I told you Catholic New Iberia is a threat in that district, but don't forget about the Blue Gators. That's another team that could walk away to that district title. 6 of you staying up late with us tonight. It's almost 3 a.m. and you're choosing to watch under the lights. Much love to everyone at home or wherever you're at in this state. Sacred Heart Basile. I had a gut feeling about this one. Sacred Heart has pretty much owned this rivalry these last few years. When they came home tonight, you know they would have a chip on their shoulder coming off of a loss a week ago. Basile, I'm sure the injury bug has hit that program. I'm not sure what happened tonight. I did not get an update, but Sacred Heart Trojans 26-7 over the Bearcats tonight. Hey, if you're a Trojan, you're feeling pretty good right now about getting your second win of the season, especially against a rivalry like it's brewed these last few years in Sacred Heart Basile. So hopefully they keep that matchup moving forward. We'll see, but congratulations to Sacred Heart tonight. Coach Aguilar, good job, man. Hey, Jennings and DeRitter met up tonight. 17-3 victory for the Jennings Bulldogs. Back-to-back impressive wins for the Bulldogs. It looks like Coach Fusilier's got those guys starting to click, got those guys believing. Look out for Jennings. Once district play gets here, they're also a threat that could take that district title. Man, there's many teams in that field that you just don't know week in and week out. I don't know if you can say it, home field advantage will matter, because these teams in this district, they're loaded, they're ready. I can't wait to see this district race. Bunkie, Jonesboro Hodge. Bunkie trying to stay perfect on the road. They took the trip to take on Jonesboro Hodge tonight. Man, when I told you this Bunkie team was the best team I've seen through 2 weeks on Wednesday night, I wasn't kidding. And they just prove it another week when they take on Jonesboro Hodge tonight. 54-12 road win. They went into their own territory and hung up 54 big ones and moved to 3-0 in the year. What Coach Jimmy has done in year one over there is remarkable. Hey, I'm fired up for you, Coach. I'm fired up for your staff. I'm fired up for the players in that locker room. The community deserves it, and I can't wait to see what y'all do moving forward. Played Bunkie in the spring game. Great potential. A couple of 3-0 teams right there played in the spring game earlier in the year. Barb, Sam Houston. No, this was not a baseball game tonight. These two teams got some really good football teams also at their schools. Sam Houston and Barb. Sam Houston trying to stay perfect on the year. They would. Tonight, it was a 36-22 road win at Barb. I said it on Wednesday night. I said I was very impressed with this Sam Houston offense. Well, another week that I'm impressed with this offense, and they get it done on the road. That's a big-time win for that program, especially in this tight district race. Can they keep up pace with the Karen Crows and the Acadianas of the world? We'll see what Sam Houston has moving forward. I know they got some big-time games moving forward. Can't wait to see what Bronco Country has in store. Lafayette and Sulphur trying to stay in the race also. Lafayette went down to Sulphur tonight. Played at Matt Walker Memorial. Hey, big-time bounce-back win for Coach over there after the Acadiana loss last week. I'm sure those guys are ready to go and get back after it. 42-33. That's a great game, it seems like. Seemed like that was a good one. Came down to the wire. Too much at home was the Sulphur Tours. Congratulations, Coach Cody over there and all of his staff, all of his players. It's a big-time win for Sulphur, moving 2-1 on the season. Cecilia Northside. Playing with a lot of confidence. They're 2-0 for first time in, I'm sure, a very long time. And they're trying to move to 3-0. And it's always a special moment when you get to play at home and you're undefeated. So you know that would come out the locker room on their minds. They would play at a high cylinder. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, they welcome in a Cecilia Bulldog football team. It seems like they have all the tools to make a run, because these last 3 weeks, this team has checked off every box. This team is loaded with talent, loaded with a coaching staff, and Bulldogs. OHS down the road. My God, what a game that's going to be for potentially the district title. You still got a couple teams that could throw a monkey wrench in there, but Cecilia and OHS, oh, can we fast forward to that night? Oh, what a game that's going to be. Congratulations to Cecilia. You look like a complete team, my friends. You know who else looks like a complete team? It's Jena Giants. No problems tonight. A shutout win at home. They take down St. Frederick's 30-0. I told you that was my sleeper moving forward. I like the Giants, folks, and I like them a lot. I can't wait to see them week in and week out from now on. I got my eye on Jena. Abbeville, North Vermilion, 3 overtimes a week ago. So you know that emotional win. Could they get back up another week, knowing they just came off of a thrilling win, and you could say. And this week, playing at Abbeville, we said it's not the easiest place to get a win because Abbeville takes it to another level whenever they get home. Defense turns it up week in and week out. Coach Moy can make you run through a brick wall with those pregame speeches. Tonight, 22-18 would be the final score. Abbeville with a squeaker of a win at home. North Vermilion almost pulled off another remarkable win, but tonight, it would be the Abbeville Wildcats, 22-18. That North Vermilion football team is giving everybody a game these last few weeks, so watch out for North Vermilion. Congratulations, Abbeville. Leesville and Iowa meeting up tonight. Who saw this score coming? Leesville Wampus Cats coming in, dominating on the road at Iowa. You don't just come in and dominate Iowa at their own place. That's not what they are accustomed to. That's not what they're used to there, especially coming off of a semifinal appearance a year ago. Leesville with Xavier Ford. You hang up 30 on the road, and your defense gives up 13. Wow. That's one for Gary. Wow. What a win for Leesville. You grabbed my attention tonight. I think Leesville and OHS got a date coming up, if I'm not mistaken. Whew, if that's the case. Leesville, OHS, oh my God. I don't know. Tigers, Wampus Cats, down there in Leesville. You just made that pick a lot harder whenever they do meet up. Man, what a win tonight for Leesville on the road. That speaks volumes of what type of team they have in that locker room. And then speaking of Opelousas High, at Lake Charles College Prep, preseason, a lot of teams were putting Lake Charles College Prep in the state championships. These last few weeks, it has been a tough task for Lake Charles College Prep just to get this thing to be competitive week in and week out, or how you could say that, just to have a winning record at this point in week 3. They played some tough competition after week 1. Week 2 and week 3, they gave them all they can handle. Tonight was the night. We said it last week. OHS, it was not the standard. They wanted to get back to playing their style of football. They wanted to be the most physical team on the field. They wanted to be the fastest team on the field. They wanted to be Opelousas Tigers, and they wanted to play like coaches trained them to be. Tonight, how about 34-6 on the road? Hey, I expect that if they're at home. When you go on the road and you make a statement, you set an example and say, the Tigers never left. The Tigers are here to stay. Watch out for my Tigers moving forward. Hey, they got one loss on the season. They went 9-1 a year ago. You know they're hungry to get back into that playoffs and revenge last year's loss. I see the Tiger fans in the chat tonight. Chris Esprit staying up late with the boys. 3 a.m. Still rocking. We're rocking with the OHS Tigers tonight. How about a 2-1 record for this OHS team? Chris, who y'all have next week? As we shift gears to our next game. Marksville 2-0, Grant 2-0. Yeah, I guess you're going to have to say all the doubters in the state of Louisiana that Santa Mont. Okay? I think that's an undefeated Santa Mont team. I think that's going to be a heck of a ball game. Correct me if I'm wrong if they're not undefeated. OHS can go give them their first loss real quick. But we'll see. Time will tell. You put the ball down, you play 4 quarters, we'll see where you lie. Marksville, like I said, you're going to have to stop doubting them, ladies and gentlemen. We doubted them here on the show, 1 and 2. Okay. We doubted them on the show this last week. We thought Grant at home would be the difference maker. We had to see Marksville go and take down an undefeated Grant football team. Well, Coach Harper is a really good coach, ladies and gentlemen. There's nothing you can say about what he's done. There's nothing you can say more about what he's done in year 1 of turning his alma mater back into a winning program there. They went 1-9 a year ago. They're sitting 3-0 on the season. Coach Josh Harper, wow. What you and your staff has done, congratulations on the early success. That's a big-time program win. You want to win the locker room. You want to win the community. It's wins like that where you can go into somebody else's territory. You can go into a hostile environment. 2 undefeated teams meeting. 2-0, 2-0. How about we go in overtime and let's see who the big dogs are at the end of the night. Well, at the end of the night, Tigers stand tall and come back to Marksville with a 34-33 overtime win. What a win for Marksville. Oh, what a game that must have been to be at. Congratulations to Marksville. What a game. Hey, Jeanerette flexing their muscles tonight on Lake Arthur. 32-0 final score. That was 2 teams coming in undefeated tonight. I did not see this score so lopsided. But what does Jeanerette have that we don't know about? Jeanerette and Lake Arthur. We thought this could be a who has the ball last type of game. But tonight, Jeanerette all over Lake Arthur with a huge statement, 32-0. We'll see how Lake Arthur bounces back. We'll see Jeanerette in an undefeated matchup next week. So back-to-back undefeated matchups for that Jeanerette football team. Loreauville Vermilion Catholic. I think Loreauville had this lead majority of the game, and I think the Screaming Eagles with that never say die attitude, with the heart of a champion, they always seem to find a way to fight for their coaches, to fight for their school, to fight for their community, to fight for their brothers on the side of them, and just find ways to grind out wins. And tonight was another reason about what they have in that locker room. Their heart beats bigger than I've seen most teams. Tonight, on the road, a comeback win for the ages. Vermilion Catholic 27, Loreauville 21. What a win for Coach Brock and his entire staff and his team tonight on the road at Loreauville. They say the E is back. The E had to prove they were back this week. I wanted to see them prove it. I wanted to see if they could go into Westgate, knock off a state champion of a few years ago that could darn to be back in that picture this coming season. Could the E go do it? Is the E really back? Let's find out. Westgate tonight, all over Evangel, 34-12. You come down to New Iberia, you find out real soon that Westgate is here to stay, and they're not going anywhere anytime soon. 34-12. Westgate stays undefeated, 3-0 in the year. Watch out. We could see Westgate in that picture down the road. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do the rest of the season, especially when they get into district play and they meet up with LCA and they meet up with STM and they meet up with Turlings. Whoa. That's some big marquee matchups. May whoever wins out of that district, you definitely earned it. Juwan Johnson, how about another field night for the kid? But you speak on Juwan and you don't give enough credit to that entire cast over there. The coaches are tremendous. The talent is tremendous. Those guys play hard, they play fast, they play physical, they play smart, and they play the game the right way. LCA tonight, 51-18 over 5A Jesuit. Ooh, that's a long bus ride home. I'm sure Juwan Johnson and his offense was rolling tonight. And that defense to give up 12 against a Jesuit football team that not long ago was in a state title game theirself. LCA, the night train, rolls into 3-0. Hey, biggest game in the state next week. LCA Ruston. At Ruston, there's nothing I can say. I can't wait to see that Ruston Bearcat football team against this LCA football team next week. Week 4. That is a week 4 matchup that we get blessed with. The matchmakers. I'll tell you what. The people that put together these schedules. Home run. A home run for sure. Sterlington Oak Grove. This game would go into overtime. Sterlington would strike first. Went up 42-35. Oak Grove. I believe this was 4th and goal from the 1, and they get stuffed. And that game ends 35-42. Overtime win at home for Sterlington. Oh man, Oak Grove goes down tonight, but what a huge win for Sterlington. Two teams that has Dome in their future plans met tonight on Friday. That's good football for the communities. You love to see matchups like that for sure. You hate to see somebody lose, but when somebody wins these type of football games, it's something that you could talk about on a recap show like tonight. There's something you could talk about into next week. It's just that darn good. Congratulations, Sterlington. Neville stays perfect on the year, 3-0, 50-20 over previously undefeated Huntington. Huntington ran into a brick wall tonight. It ain't easy go and win a game at Neville. And Neville, after 2 straight emotional close victories, just grinding out wins, they get a convincing win tonight, and kind of like a little blowout fashion where they can breathe a little sigh of relief and breathe a little comfortable with a 50-20 victory. University Lab, Catholic of Baton Rouge. This one on paper was just so good. Now, would it live up to the hype? Could it come down to the wire? How many points would be scored? Would we see late drama? Ladies and gentlemen, final score tonight. What a win for University Lab at home, knocking off Catholic of Baton Rouge, 31-30. ULab, that's a big time win for that team. You want to see this matchup year in and year out? I'm all for it. Sign me up. Give it to me again next year, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations to University Lab. St. Charles and Teurlings met tonight. I expected this one to be a dogfight. I expected this to be a four-quarter affair, and St. Charles' defense comes down at the end, and I would say they might get a stop at home and get a victory. But it was a complete opposite 360. Throw it away. These predictions don't mean nothing. St. Charles going for a three-peat. That's all you need to know. And when it came down to tonight, that three-peat looks really good in their near future. They have the team to get there. They have the team to do it. All they doing these last few weeks, knocked off state champion Lutcher. They knocked off a semifinal Teurlings football team tonight. Final score, 48-20 over Teurlings. St. Charles, we see you, big dogs. The Comets, they want that three-peat. They're well on their way. Zachary St. Aug, this was 7-7 for the longest tonight. And then at the end, Zachary pulls away late with a field goal and a touchdown. A 17-7 victory over St. Aug. St. Aug comes into tonight scoring big points the first 2 weeks, but would be held in check from that Bronco defense. Whew. Yeah, Braden, I remember you said you were at the game tonight. Zachary defense, most impressive thing so far that I've read, holding that St. Aug team to 7 points after what they've scored these last 2 weeks. And then St. Thomas More, Brother Martin, you said this one could be a little closer than what people expected, but definitely what the score is here. You thought this game could be closer. Brother Martin coming in 2-0. They got 2 big wins in week 1 and week 2. STM has not been tested here score-wise because they've just been blowing people out left and right. They're good, man. The Cougars at Cougar Stadium, they're hard to beat. But if they're playing football like they've been playing these last 3 weeks, ain't nobody might not touch them this year unless we see somebody like a Jawan Johnson in the playoffs. In district play. But as of that, can Westgate slow this team down? Can LCA slow this team down? Can somebody in the playoffs slow this team down? After what I've seen these last 3 weeks, it's going to be very difficult, and especially if you got to go to Cougar Stadium. What a win tonight for St. Thomas More. 41-7. They roll over Brother Martin. That's a big-time statement win right there for sure for Coach Hightower. And then Edna Carr, Warren Easton. We said it on Wednesday night, man. We said it was 11 straight wins for Edna Carr. Something had to give. They're tired of taking their hits year in and year out. They're ready to get over the hump. They're not eligible for the playoffs, so this would be their state championship game. This would be their Super Bowl. They would go 10-0 on the season if they get by Carr. This wasn't close. This was dominated. This was Edna Carr telling you, I'm the best team in the state of Louisiana. It still runs through me. I'm eligible for the playoffs. How about I go put a statement win on you tonight, and in my quest for another state title, let me go show this entire state that we have not left, and it's time for us to go sit back on top of the mountain and gain our crown again. Edna Carr, you got 48-14 tonight. Who projected that score? A lot of people picked Carr to win this game. A lot of people picked Easton to win this game. But I don't think a lot of people picked a blowout in this contest. Edna Carr, we see you, big dogs. We know you're coming back for that crown. We know that you're coming for that state title again. You proved it tonight. And it's going to be hard to pick against you moving forward. But congratulations to Carr. 48-14 victory tonight over Warren Easton. What I see now, what do you play for moving forward? Is it the seniors? Is it the community? Is it the school? Because like we said, they put a lot into this Edna Core matchup. They wanted this one badly, so we'll see how they respond in week 4. Core, undefeated. They might not be touched this year. Hey, games of the night, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go over them real quick. I gave a game of the night back to Thursday. Karen Crow over Southside earned my game of the night because of how that game finished. The 13 seconds remaining and Karen Crow with the go-ahead score. Definitely a game of the night. Eunice over Avoyles tonight earns game of the night honors. 21-20 victory. Catholic New Iberia over ERAF tonight. I think that was a 25-23 final there. Earns game of the night honors. Abbeville over North Vermilion. That was a 4-point win for Abbeville at home. Earns game of the night honors. And then Marksville over Grant, your final game of the night honors, overtime victory for Marksville. That's a win that program needed, and I know those guys are excited. Hey, how about upsets of the night, ladies and gentlemen? I gave Marksville over Grant an upset after going into their territory and knocking off Grant at home. That's a really good Grant football team, but tonight it would be Marksville. I also picked upset of the night, went to Berwick over Franklin. That was a 1-1 Franklin team, but an 0-2 Berwick team. So getting a big time win over Franklin tonight. And then Montgomery over Elton, an 0-2 team getting a win over a 2-0 team at Elton, earns upset of the night. UTL statement win of the night, ladies and gentlemen. Leesville on the road, blowing out Iowa, is definitely a UTL statement win of the night. Jeanneret over Lake Arthur, ladies and gentlemen. Jeanneret shutout win, big time points scored. This one wasn't close. This was two 2-0 teams meeting tonight, and this was dominated. They earned UTL statement win of the night. STM over Brother Martin because of the score differential of how dominated this one actually was and how much of a quality of opponent Brother Martin is. This is a statement win for St. Thomas More, proving they're in their quest to go back to back. And then Calvary Baptist over Bird on Thursday night also earned statement win for the night because 1A over 5A, you can throw those out. You know Calvary Baptist could probably play 4A football. But just the way this game was determined, it was a rout, and it was a rout early. So Calvary Baptist over Bird earns a UTL statement win of the night. Hey, helmet stickers to give out to a couple teams around the state of Louisiana. Kinder gets a helmet sticker because we covered them on Thursday night. Northwest gets a helmet sticker. We covered them tonight. Both teams pick up big time road wins in dominating fashion. Both scores wasn't close. They both earn helmet stickers. Leesville going on the road, knocking off Iowa at Iowa, definitely earns helmet sticker. Rain, when their offense exploded at home against Church Point tonight, helmet sticker. And then Welsh. And then Welsh on Thursday night, head football coach over there, picks up his very first career win. He earns a helmet sticker from myself. So, congratulations to all those teams that were just acknowledged. Hey, not too early to take a look into the future of Week 4. Like we said, Jeanneret at Centerville. That's an undefeated matchup. 3-0 versus 3-0 next week. Tioga at Marksville. That's a 3-0 team versus the 3-0 team next week. Glenbrook at Haynesville. That's a 3-0 team at a 3-0 team next week. Glenbrook, Haynesville. That's going to be fun. Rain at Kaplan. That's going to be a boatload of fun. Notre Dame at Turlings. Good rivalry there. Always a competitive matchup. St. Martinville at Westgate. A lot of talent on both sides of the football. I'm ready to see what happens in that one. St. Louis at Kinder. St. Louis defense versus this Kinder offense. I can't wait to see that matchup. I can't wait to see both coaches' staffs go after it for fourth quarters. Catholic of Baton Rouge at St. Thomas More next week. Do the Cougars take a week off and not place a top dog in the state of Louisiana? Because, wow, the Catholic of Baton Rouge and St. Thomas More, I'm here for it. Leesville, Catholic of New Iberia next week. That's going to be a little spicy there. Two teams that could get it done. We have to see what happens. Northwest and Eunice next week. Two great St. Leger Parish rivalries. Two great St. Leger Parish football teams meeting on Friday. So we'll see what happens in that one. OHS and Santa Mont next week. OHS has to go to Santa Mont. Santa Mont's coming in. They'll be looking for a win. OHS is going to look to stay with momentum moving forward. Edna Corr, St. Aug next week. And then your final game that I have for tonight is LCA at Ruston. That's the big one next week. That is the game of the year in a lot of people's opinions. And I'm sure that might be K104 Downs game of the week. Rightfully so. That's going to be everything you want in high school football and more. So, hey, I'll give it about 2 or 3 minutes, seeing if anybody wants to call in, talk about their matchup tonight. I know we have some late recap show tonight, but we still have people watching, so 337-290-5587 before we close this bad boy out and we get ready for Week 4 in the state of Louisiana. Everybody's good? All right. Hey, let's shut this boy down tonight. Let's go get some rest. Tigers on at 11 in the morning. I want to say thank you to everyone that supports us week in and week out. I want to thank all of our sponsors. I want to thank our great friends from around the state that has platforms like ourselves, our photographers in the state of Louisiana that does high school work, all the coaches around the state of Louisiana that has been great friends to us, everyone that allows us to come do a game. Thank you so much. I want to thank my team. I want to thank my wife. I want to say thank y'all for choosing Under the Lights week in and week out for high school football. Not the best out there. We still have a ways to go of bringing you product that you could be proud of week in and week out. We will announce where we're headed Sunday. So Sunday, look out for Thursday and Friday games for Week 4. Crazy to think we're already to Week 4. Season's flying along. It needs to slow the hell down a little bit and just let us high school football fans enjoy the moments. Folks, I want to say enjoy the rest of your weekend. My name is Jordan Taylor. This was Under the Lights. recap show, late night edition here, 3:30 in the morning. Who else is going to give you late night football except Under the Lights? As we close out week 3 and shift gears to week 4, week 3, full of drama, full of excitement, full of teams staying undefeated, full of teams winning in overtimes, winning with field goals. I mean, and then you got teams that are just putting their stamp on it, like I said earlier, and just dominating and just putting teams away early and not looking back. District play rolls around next week for a lot of teams, and a lot of teams are already into district play from these last 2 weeks if you're in that Acadiana Carencro district. But as teams enter district play these next few weeks, I expect things to amp up a little bit, where these teams are going to be moving with a sense of urgency, because when that district title comes into play, you got something to play for. Also, rankings will be huge at the midway point. That's where you can start getting a little feel of maybe where your team, or on the outs, maybe if your team's on that ends of getting maybe a home playoff game these last 5 weeks. You have to follow those rankings close. Brought to you by Go Preps or friends over there. But I'm rambling on. I appreciate everyone. We said week 2 was full of excitement, drama, good old-fashioned football, marquee matchups. We closed the door. We shift gears to week 4. Some big-time matchups. I can't wait to get out to a stadium next Thursday. I can't wait to get out to a stadium next Friday. You can catch the guys Wednesday nights on the Pick'em Show, live from Gary Swallow's Taekwondo Martial Arts in Opelousas, Louisiana, about 8:30ish start time. And then we have a Friday night recap next week. Probably be about an hour or 2 earlier than it was tonight. So, hey, if you're watching it with us live right now, good night, ladies and gentlemen. If you're watching it with us later on at another date and time, hello from myself. Thank you for tuning in. Good night. It's 3:30. Let's go to bed. We got college football in the morning. Thank you. God bless high school football, and God bless Under the Lights.